have any amendments to the agenda this evening?
I do have one additional item, and that is a recommendation to approve board travel, Carol Williams, to the National PTO Conference.
Okay. That's a recommendation for Ms. Carol Williams to attend the National PTO Conference. We'll make that item 42. Okay. Any other amendments? Any other amendments? Need a motion to adopt the agenda? Okay, moved by Dr. Spangler, second by Mr. Parks. All in favor, show your right hand. Motion passed. Thank you very much. Recognition of achievements and awards. And this.
Well, good evening. It's sort of an honor. I take Anissa's place for the beginning, but this is one of those bittersweet moments for certainly for the Clarke County School District, and certainly for myself as superintendent. And Norris is sitting behind me. But I don't, certainly it shouldn't be a secret by now. It's been public. But that Dr. Norris Price has been named the superintendent of the Baldwin County Schools, which you will assume July 1. Got that? July 1. We got June 30th still on the list. But, you know, for those of us that have worked with Dr. Price, it's, first of all, it doesn't come as a surprise that they find good leaders and exceptional leaders, and that's what they did. And, you know, I'm certainly ecstatic for Dr. Price in so many ways, and a little bit sad. I tell her it's sort of a professional separation. For most that have known, we've been together, I think, as architect and trying to change the Clarke County schools and move us to a better place collectively. And I probably can't think of anyone in my professional career who I think aligned in our beliefs and what need to happen in our schools. But I think more than that is her relentless tenacity in advocating for children. See, I can't look at her, so she's behind me. So, but certainly if you come in contact with Dr. Price, I had to write some notes about her final evaluation, and the first one that came to mind was no is not something that's in her vocabulary, nor is we cannot do it if it's good for children, because she's simply that. And even if it's at a close timeline, if you got 5 minutes and it's good for children, she'll tell me make that call or make that visit, because if we have 5 minutes it needs to be done. But you know, she so I sort of canvassed this whole piece that we're just thankful that she's been here for 7 years. I'm thankful that she's been able to work with her for 5 years. She's made a difference for a lot of children. She will continue to make a difference for a lot of children. The impact that she's had here will remain for years to come. The impact for Baldwin, they just don't know what hit them yet, but they will soon. So, you know, this is to Dr. Price, and yes, she still works here, at least for a little bit. But I just, like I said, bittersweet. But good leaders need to move on and make differences in other districts, and that's what she's going to do. So this reads certainly in appreciation. It's our crystal apple for Dr. Price. Thank you. No, we don't do this. Thank you. The board, go on.
Thank you, everybody.
Nathan? Okay, go ahead.
I remember when I first started on the board and I heard all of Narisa's roles and responsibilities, and I was like, how can this one human being do all of this? And we were shifting around again, and she got something else on her plate after that was big. I don't remember exactly what it was.
He's only the assistant superintendent
Maybe
of
that's
another
what-
job.
right.
2 assistant superintendent jobs.
And I said, Dr. Lanu, can she do this? He said, yeah. And he kept on going, keeping on. But thank you. You're a woman of many hats, and no surprise that you are getting a promotion in the public school system. And congratulations, and we will miss you. And thank you for all your service around here.
Thank you.
Okay. Listen. She got to read something.
Good evening, Mr. President, Mr. Superintendent, and members of the board. Tonight I'm pleased to present many outstanding honorees. And first up, we have our very special 4th Annual Impact Awards recognitions. And this year we are very pleased to recognize several outstanding organizations that provide ongoing support in our schools. Nominations were made by school district principals and directors, and each of the organizations we will recognize tonight was nominated for making both significant and lasting contributions to our district. There were certainly other nominees, and we appreciate the efforts of all groups that work with our district. Each and every one makes a difference. This is simply our way of saying thank you for making a difference for all children. First up, I'm not sure if we have someone here this evening from Adams Optics. Do we have Mr. Adams here? He couldn't be with us this evening, but I did want to note that Adams Optics has been helpful and generous in providing glasses to students in need. When families are unable to purchase a replacement pair of glasses due to loss or damage, they have been instrumental in providing glasses. Insurance companies will most often not cover more than 1 pair of glasses per year, but Adams Optics comes through in a fast and completely non-judgmental manner, and they were nominated for this award by our Department of Homeless Education, and we'll be sure to get them their plaque. And I did want to note that we have already updated our recipients plaque here, so our new award winners are there, and we're again really pleased to be doing this for the 4th year in a row. There are never any shortage of nominees, which just shows the impact that our community makes on our schools. Next, this is the other organization. I'm not sure if anyone from Ashley Furniture is here this evening. They were nominated for this award through their A Hope to Dream initiative, and they have nominated nationally and also here in Clarke County several mattress sets to children between the ages of 3 and 16, and you can only imagine the difference that that would make in the life of a child. Okay, next up is Central Presbyterian Church, and I believe this evening we have here Reverend Bob Bowler and Gina Lonnie, the Chair of Deacons. Are they here this evening? Wonderful. Well, come on up and let me tell you all why they were nominated and are so deserving of this award. So if you'll stand here, I'll read about you, and then we will present you with your plaque so you can hear all the good things. The relationship Clarke Middle School formed with Central Presbyterian Church began with the church loaning the school tables for a career fair and their sanctuary for a young artist concert. Over the last 2 years, the relationship, as part of the church's mission in a mile, has deepened, and the church has been clear in communicating support anytime the school needs help. Just to note, they also work with Alps Road Elementary School. They were very strongly nominated for this award by Clarke Middle School Principal Tad McMillan and Family Engagement Specialist Lindsay Cavan. The church has prepared dinner for neighborhood meetings, made cookies during Teacher Appreciation Week, worked in the school's clothes closet to ensure uniform clothes were available, and more. They provided Clarke Middle School with 20 Thanksgiving meals for families. They gave CRCT snacks for all students and donated food for the community dinner during African American Heritage Night. They have also provided hygiene supplies, numerous uniform donations, and food for families in need. They have adopted Clarke Middle School, and according to Principal Tad McMillan, we are all the better for their loving support. Congratulations. Go around and shake the board.
Thank you. You're so welcome. Thank you for letting us help. Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
We've really gotten so many of our congregation excited, so we're looking forward to you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much. So important work. Thank you.
And next up, we would like to recognize Emmanuel Episcopal Church, and I believe this evening we have Father Robert Salamone here. And I would like to read to you what the nomination had to say. For around 2 decades, Emmanuel Episcopal Church has been a valuable partner in supporting the needs of students, and they were nominated for this award by our School Social Work Department. Emmanuel graciously covers costs of medical expenses for students when there is a gap in insurance cover or coverage or a special need. Father Robert Salamone always responds personally to referrals made to the church for students. He understands the urgency of the requests and also the confidential nature of the needs. Because of Emmanuel Episcopal Church, students and families have been provided with medications, medical equipment, personal hygiene products for special needs students, eyeglasses, eye exams, and much more. So tonight we want to thank them for their significant, very long-lasting, around 20 years of contributions. Thank you so much. And if you would call in and check the board members' in.
No, this makes me happy. Thank you.
And next, we'd like to recognize the Georgia Lions Lighthouse Foundation. Do we have Judith Kerr here? Wonderful, and I'll read to you about this foundation. The Georgia Lions Lighthouse Foundation has helped numerous students in Clarke County obtain needed vision exams and eyeglasses. They were nominated for this award by Angela Gay of Student Services. The foundation has especially helped in meeting vision needs of students that are uninsured. During the 2013-14 school year, a partnership was formed with Mercy Clinic, whereby if it was determined glasses were needed, students received glasses, no questions. Every student referred this school year received vision care, thanks to this organization. Thank you. Next, with Holy Cross Lutheran Church, we have Pastor Norbert Hahn and possibly a member of their outreach team. Wonderful. Holy Cross Lutheran Church has been very supportive of the Clarke County School District Homeless Education Program, and they were nominated for this award by Katie Wheeler. They have donated funds and items for families, and I think this sentence that Katie shared really summarizes why they received this award. They have never refused any request. The funding they provide helps purchase bus passes, uniforms, and provides deposits so families can move into their own homes. They have provided household items for families when they're able to move into their own homes, which is unique to only this agency, to Holy Cross Lutheran Church. So we want to thank them for going above and beyond and filling a need in this community that no one else was filling. Thank you. And finally, Dr. Phil Wages of Winterville First Baptist Church. Winterville First Baptist Church has made a commitment to serving Coyle Middle School in a variety of ways. Recently, they hosted 2 grocery food drives entitled The Great Grocery Giveaway, in which volunteers have spent hours at the school, often before daybreak on Saturday mornings. Through these drives, the church has provided tens of thousands of pounds of food to hundreds of families. It's no wonder Assistant Principal Brad Bowling nominated them for this award. Additionally, church members have donated school supplies and equipped students in need with a backpack full of necessary school supplies. They have brought breakfast for the staff on numerous occasions and have been a consistent source of support for the school community. Thank you for making such an impact.
Thank you all so much.
It takes a village and it takes a community, and we could not be so proud to be CCSD if it weren't for the support that the community provides to us. And you'll notice tonight we had so many faith-based organizations. It takes all of us making a commitment for all students. So I'd like to ask for another round of applause for our Impact Award winners. And next up, we will begin our regular monthly recognitions. First up, we would like to recognize Megan McNeely of Clarke Middle School for winning a Fulbright Distinguished Award. Clarke Middle School 8th grade English teacher Megan McNeely has been awarded a Fulbright Distinguished Award grant and stipend to conduct Holocaust research in the United Kingdom. This award was given to only 43 U.S. citizens by the United States Department of State and the J. William Fulbright Foreign Scholarship Board. This program is the flagship international educational exchange program sponsored by the U.S. government and is designed to increase mutual understanding between the people of the United States and the people of other countries. Ms. McNeely's expertise in Holocaust education has been recognized by a variety of groups. Last year, you may recall, she was named the recipient of both the Spirit of Anne Frank Outstanding Educator Award as well as Distinguished Educator of the Year Middle School for her work on Holocaust curriculum. How fitting is it that today would have been Anne Frank's 85th birthday? Congratulations, Ms. McNeely. We're so proud of you for receiving this Fulbright Award.
I haven't been home for
It works. It works.
Okay, Megan. Okay.
It works.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. So proud of you. Thank you.
Next up, we'd like to recognize Ian Altman of Clarke Central High School. Mr. Altman is an English teacher there, and he has been selected as the University of Georgia College of Education 2014 Crystal Apple recipient. This award is given annually to alumni of the college who have made a significant impact in K-12 education. Mr. Altman has committed himself in and out of the classroom and has been a tireless advocate for educational access for undocumented students. He has been recognized for his work by a variety of organizations, and we also want to add to that list of groups and congratulate him on receiving this very prestigious award for UGA and for being a tireless advocate for all kids. Congratulations.
You're a rock star. That's really cool. Congratulations.
Next, we have a lot of athletes to recognize tonight. Now, you'll see tonight that the Clarke County School District has really swept so many championships regionally, so we are really pleased with this. But first, we actually have a state championship team, and these are our congratulations to the Coyle Middle School, Hillsman Middle School combined track team for winning the state championship for the second year in a row. And so I'll call your names. If you could be in order, we have certificates for each of you. From Hillsman Middle School, Chris Brown, Ashton Daniel, Ladrell Finch, Rendon Gainey, Jason Goss. Are you Jason? Oh, you're Ashton? Come on up.
That's gonna make it work tonight.
What's your name, please? Okay. Demetroy Jordan, Giovanni McDavid, Jeremias Johnson, Damari Jones, Keyshawn Smith, and Kiani Smith. And next we'll recognize the Coyle Middle School students. Marshall Benz, Jafari Colbert, Austin Harris, Cameron Hudson, Christian Hudson, and Altavius Wright. And of course the coaches, Coach Sherelle Kennerson and Coach Mike Scott. Congratulations.
Fantastic. Thanks so much.
And next, we would like to recognize the Region 8-5A boys basketball champions. And this is the Clarke Central boys basketball team, and they finished the season with a record of 26 wins and 2 losses. And the boys were undefeated in the region during the regular season. They defeated Appalachia in the regional tournament to be crowned the 2013-14 regional champions. And so from our regional team, we will recognize coaches and captains and individual winners. So from Clarke Central, Cameron Johnson, he was the Region 8-5A Player of the Year. And Leroy Leggett, he was named to the All-Region team. Donovan Thompson was also named to the All-Region team. And Coach Andre McIntyre, head coach, he was actually the Region 8-5A Coach of the Year. Tony Sorrells, assistant coach. Travis Tecco, junior varsity coach, and Teddy Fleming, freshman coach. Thank you. And next, we'll recognize the Region 8-5A girls basketball champions, again Clarke Central, and this is the first time in Clarke Central school history that the girls and boys basketball team have won a regional championship in the same year. And the Clarke Central Lady Gladiator basketball team finished the season with a record of 19 wins and 5 losses. They defeated 4th-ranked Salem High School in order to be crowned the 2013-14 region champs. And from Clarke Central, Jasmine Bell, she's a team captain and was named to the Region 8-5A All-Region team.
Congratulations.
Kundra Briscoe, captain. Markia Lester, also named to the All-Region team. Addie McNeely, team captain, and also named to the Region All-Region team. Carla Johnson, head coach. Congratulations, Coach Johnson. Janine Knight, assistant coach. Omar Reed, assistant coach, and Stefan Smith, assistant coach. Congratulations, Clarke Central, for sweeping that. And Clarke Central also were the Region 8-5A soccer champions, and they finished with an 8-0 record and are ranked 4th in the state. And tonight, we'd like to recognize Chris Aiken, their coach. Congratulations. Clarke Central their team was also the 8-5A wrestling regional champions. The team finished with a 31-4 record and had 4 invitational tournament championships. They had 11 state qualifiers, the most in school history, and 3 state medalists. They had individual champs and, of course, again, were named the regional champs. Only the coach could join us this evening, but I told him to come anyway. Coach Stoudemire, congratulations.
It works. It works. It works. It works.
Thank you. Yes. Next, we will recognize the Region 8-5A boys track champions, and this time Cedar Shoals High School won. And they were They were the 2014 Athens area champs, the East Jackson Invitational champs, Locke Johnson Invitational champs. This is the 9th boys regional championship since 2001, and this is the 10th top 5 state finish since 1999. So we're very proud of this team. And we'll first recognize Golden Brown, Jacarius Bush, Brashard Cooper, who was also named to the All-State second team, Trent Harris, Santonio Hawes, Tyler Hitchcock, Ryan Huff, Justin McElroy, Rogerius Swain, and also he was named All-State Honorable Mention, Harry Bufford, the coach, Roger Edmonds, coach, and again, Mike Scott, coach. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you all you've done, Roger. It's great.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Awesome job again.
And finally tonight we have our State Agri-Science Fair winners to recognize from the Hillsman Middle and Cedar Shoals FFA, and we have several students from these groups going on to the National Convention in October. So from Hillsman, Willie Craddock, he won first place in the state in food science, and he is going to the National Convention. Is Willie here this evening? And also his sponsor, Pamela Stratton. Next from Cedar Shoals, Haley Arnold and Quentin Green. They won second place in animal science. Sullivan Hogan, second place environmental science. Sam Jones and Dylan Paparello, first place, senior team division of power. Jacob Babendreer and Natalie Stanley, second place. Alex Smith and Bria Thompson Carter, second place. And Julie Throne, their sponsor. Congratulations. And Alex, she was on a team with Bria Thompson Carter, and they won second place in the state in food processing and technology.
Congratulations.
Great job. Congratulations. We've seen you a few times. Good.
Time. Again, on behalf of the Clarke County School District, congratulations. You have made such an impact in our district and community, and you continue to make us proud to be CCSD.
Dr. Lanu?
And again, just to re-echo again what Anissa has said, every board meeting we are always in for I call it a treat. It's just the highlight of the month when we're able to see the results of hard work, dedication, and just lots of talent in a lot of areas. Certainly athletically, it was a good spring, it was a good fall, and it was a good winter. But to see the commitment and dedication on both the academic front and on the athletic field in front is pretty amazing. And it builds just so much character, and it builds just a lot of determination that we have in our kids and our coaches. So I know they've left, but I would be remiss if I didn't say, well done, and school's out. So can't blame them. It's a nice evening. Terrific job by all.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lanu. We're going to move the agenda. We're down to the next item on the agenda, item B, recognition of achievements and awards. We have 7 speakers lined up, but I was told that number 1 and number 3 wouldn't be here this evening. And I'm going to read a statement, then I'll start with the number 2 speaker here. Speakers would be limited to 3 minutes. A yellow caution card would appear when 1 minute remains, and a red card will appear when time expires. Dr. Spangler is our timekeeper. At this point, please conclude remarks. No speaker should indulge in personal attacks while speaking. All comments are to be addressed directly to the Board of Education. Personal concerns may be addressed in writing to the superintendent or the president of the board. The first speaker is Denise Smith, valued teachers switching to a sole provider for retirement plans.
Do I come up here? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I need here on my notes and business. All right, thank you. Dr. Lanu, Mr. Hamill, distinguished board members, thank you for your time tonight. I'm Denise Smith, retirement specialist with Value Teachers. It has been tremendously rewarding for me to work with employees of the Clarke County School District for over 12 years. And we've just seen what an amazing school district this is. Lots of achievements. I helped my very first client save for his retirement in May of 2002. He was a teacher at Clarke Middle School, but I don't just help teachers. I teach the value of retirement education to all school employees, bus drivers, cafeteria workers, paraprofessionals, administrators, every employee in the system. I want to thank you for providing a choice for 403B plans to your employees for the past 12 years that I have worked and volunteered in your system. Value Teachers has made a difference by helping over 600 Clarke County school employees save in a 403B or a 457. It has been a joy to help so many employees understand how their state retirement works and their supplementary plans such as 403Bs, IRAs, and 457s. We truly have helped many employees prepare to retire with dignity. I have also enjoyed being a volunteer and partnering in so many areas and in so many meaningful ways during the past 12 years in the district. The partnership I've forged with Clarke County School System has led to very strong relationships, great respect, and a tremendous concern for my clients. A fee has never been deducted from my clients' accounts, nor has any client lost principal or interest. I'm hopeful that the new plan Clarke County administration adopts will consider the serious and long-term commitment clients have made to their 403B plans and allow them to continue to save without interrupting the present plan that so many have had for so long. Requiring employees to make a change midstream or toward the end of their career could be costly to their retirement objective. Dr. Lanu, I understand and accept the need to seek a new path for your Clarke County 403B program, and I'm confident you will do what's right for all school employees. I will continue to support Clarke County school employees in every way possible, including helping you and your team in this transition. Once again, I thank you for the very special opportunity to make a difference and to build so many friends in Clarke County schools. I look forward to continuing to work with you in this process of change. I am local and, as always, available at your convenience. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Smith. Our next speaker is Regina Quick, Early Enrollment Policy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Regina Quick, and I'm a lawyer here in town, also the state representative for House District 117. We're in my district now. I'm here tonight to talk about your early enrollment policy, and was here last month to talk and to listen to the presentation that was made about that policy. Of course, I get to talk to many of you often about other things, and Dr. Spangler perhaps tonight is doing what many of you have often wanted to do, and she gets to tell me she's heard enough and move along. So I'll try to be brief if I can. The Trotters who presented to you last month are my constituents. And actually, I first learned of the issue in a request that was made to me to clarify what state law was, and was there any prohibition against the early enrollment of a student in first grade who had not attained the age of 6 before September 1st. And the answer to that is no. And there's an email that I obtained from the State Board of Education that I think all of you probably have seen at this point, but I brought some extra copies in case you need them, and I'll hang around till the meeting is over to answer any questions you might have. Beyond that, I want to state my willingness to assist in any way if you feel further clarification is needed from a state law perspective, to assist you in implementing a policy that does what Dr. Lanou just said, which is to focus on each individual student in the Clarke County School District and meet their needs and do what's best. So if you feel that there's some clarification needed in state law, I've actually had a discussion with the Vice Chair of the House Education Committee, Mike Dudgeon, and I think there's a group that's willing to help work however you feel the need. I also come tonight as a constituent, and I think I should have double-checked this, Miss Ellis. I think you're my school board member. As a constituent, to ask for your favorable consideration of a change in that policy. I didn't go to kindergarten, and it's not because I flunked out. I didn't go to kindergarten. I skipped 5th grade, and it's not because I had means, economic means as a child to do that, because I came from the poorest part of Coleman County, Alabama, in the lowest economic part of our school district, but had an opportunity. So I think to say that this type of policy, if well crafted, could not benefit poor students is just short-sighted and frankly wrong, and I'm proof of that. In terms of going on to, and I'll just say, in addition to those things, I wound up with a 3.97 GPA. Granted, it was at Auburn, but also, there you go. The end. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Quick. Our next speaker is Kristen Trotter, early enrollment policy.
Thank you. Members of the board, I was here last month, and last month I spoke to you about the need for an early enrollment option, and I'm here to talk about that again. The policy committee had a discussion about what to do kind of in the short term, and it was decided that no action would be taken in the short term. And the urgency behind that matter was all about my son's situation. And now that's no longer an issue. There's no urgency there, so I think the board can take a lot more time to kind of really flesh this out and figure out what the best thing is to do. And I'd like to be involved in that as much as I possibly can be. So last month I listed 3 reasons why someone might be opposed to an early enrollment option. The first one was money. The second one was just an opposition to change in general. And the third one was that we already have a policy in place for acceleration, so there's not any need to add to it. In the discussion, the policy discussion, it was made clear that money is not a factor at all. But the opposition to change argument, at least that general feel, seemed to come around a couple times. There seemed to be a great deal of trepidation in the room just about being the first in the state to enact such a policy. And then when it came time to discuss about how to form a policy, the words difficult and scary came up, and just kind of gave me the vibe that people weren't so sure that we could actually do this. I understand the fear of change. I just don't think that it's a good reason to decide one way or the other on anything. And of course, the third reason I mentioned, I made an analogy. I compared the current acceleration policy for younger students to taking a boat across the Atlantic, whereas an early enrollment policy would be more like taking a plane. And I had hoped that during the policy committee meeting, the discussion would be about taking the plane. It would be about the policy and how to craft the policy, the benefits of the policy, the possible complications of the policy. But I found that when I was there, that wasn't what happened. What tended to happen was that we were focused on the boat, the existing policy, and arguing that it was doing a great job at accelerating our kids. That may be true, but I was hoping for more discussion on the option of early enrollment. And of course, there could always be other reasons that I had not thought of besides those three to be opposed to an early enrollment option. And some of those reasons came out during the meeting. But because I had no speaking rights in the meeting, I was unable to challenge those points. And because I failed to foresee those arguments, I couldn't arm those who were speaking on behalf of early enrollment policy with the facts that they needed to properly combat those arguments. And with all due respect to those providing the reasons for opposition, I believe nearly all of the arguments that were formed out of incomplete or erroneous information, much of which came from the legal memo prepared before the meeting, some of which Representative Quick just hit on. And if I had the time today, I could go over point by point how those things were, how I feel incomplete or erroneous, but I simply don't have that time. I only get 3 minutes to speak to you each month. So I've decided that the best thing to do is to take 3 minutes over the course of the next 7 to 10 months and kind of gradually lay out the case for an early enrollment option. I could just keep writing lots and lots and lots of words as I've been doing, but I find that people tend to turn me off when I do that. And also when you're arguing in email form or in any kind of writing form, tone is always a tough thing to interpret, and you can come across as angry when arguing a point. So I'm sorry if I've offended anyone in anything I've said. That was not my intention, and I will certainly remain civil, and I will never attack any individual as we go through this process. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Christian. Our next speaker is David Hatter, Supplemental Retirement Plan Proposal.
I know. Okay.
Okay. Alyssa Trotter, Early Enrollment Policy.
Okay, I'm actually not speaking about early enrollment policy because at this point it seems clear that that's not going to happen in time for my son. So I'm going to talk about something that could possibly help my son because we would like for him to be in first grade as soon as possible because he is definitely ready. It has come to our attention that one of the reasons that some are in opposition of our son being placed in first grade is that the district has no way of knowing whether or not he is ready, whether or not, his kindergarten was a good kindergarten and he meets the standards for going into first grade. And I just wanted to clear up that we never, ever thought that we would just be able to put him in first grade. We thought that we would come up with a reasonable way to get him evaluated before the school year started. But since that isn't going to happen, I would like to bring up a current policy that might be considered something that could help him get into first grade as soon as possible. I do not believe that the current acceleration policy is quick, nor is it the best thing for the child. And working in Clarke County schools, I've seen it firsthand. And I know how long it takes. And I know that unless you do have a parent, which obviously we would be knocking down the door, the principal's office, but unless you do have a parent knocking down the door, it takes a very long time. And even still, it takes a long time. So we would like to ask the board to consider looking at Part B of Policy IHEB, which is, I think, not very well known. I don't think it's used a whole lot, but it's for students who have been previously retained. It says, for students who have been previously retained, acceleration should be considered if the student's development needs would be better met at the next highest grade level. It's called overage or special condition acceleration. So because our son has completed kindergarten, we feel like a reasonable person could say that he has been retained if you put him back into a kindergarten classroom. The process can be done in a matter of days. Because it's really just looking at whether the child is ready for the next grade level, not whether or not the child is gifted. So we believe that this is a workable option for our son, and we also have a statement from the BOE that says that they don't have anything to say about this matter. So they do not, they're not against it, is what I'm trying to say. So we would just like for the board to look into that for our son to meet his needs, because we also would like to meet the needs of every child in the district.
Thank you, Ms. Trout. I'd like to say thanks for all of the comments from the speakers this evening. And we're going to move the agenda to the next item, and that is the superintendent's report. Dr. Lanu, item D.
Sure. And we'll speak a little bit more in depth, a lot more in depth, on several of these topics at our workshop that's going to be on Tuesday, and that will be held at Whit Davis, as we know, from 8 to 4. And just to note the second part about the agenda for the workshop is in Google Docs. Please know that I'm constantly moving things a little bit to make that workshop more interactive. And I'm working at this point that on Monday I'll insert some links and try to be really creative in terms of how we can have engaging conversations about those topics. So I'm not trying to change it radically. It's just evolving a bit as we refine that, and I get information from others. So if you don't know Google Docs, as soon as I go in, it's real-time changing, and I'm not saying that the format will change dramatically. It's just some of the pieces in there to make it work will. But I think the times are pretty structured. So I guess if there's any comments or any feedback, people have given me some emails. Please let me know if there's anything now in terms of that. But I'm very excited about some of the work and looking at our strategic plan and some of the topics. The other is one of them is about what really reform model that the district is going to select. And for those that don't know, there are 3 models that are required of districts to choose, and that has to be by July 1st of 2015. Those 3 models are what they call status quo, which means anything I think real new. The IE squared model is really a centralized model. It's really a contract, comes out of the governor's office, but it's a contract that you're going to perform at a certain level, and then there are conditions for which something would happen if you didn't meet that contract. And there are only several districts. I believe Gwinnett was one of the first that went into the IE squared, and I think Forsyth is I'm not sure, but I know Gwinnett was one of the original of those, and I think they're sort of having some questions about that particular model, but I certainly can't speak for Gwinnett. And then the other one is the charter system, and there's also something called the system of charters. So there's 2 parts on the charter system. And the charter system's main tenets is around local government, about school level decision making and how that works. And the charter system gives probably the greatest flexibility around Title 20. It also gives resources. There's in the budget for, I believe it's 80. I don't know if it's $80 or $90 an FTE. In which is given to districts. So for us, that would be just under $1 million going to a charter system. We had our presentation, I know I lose track of time, but at one of our work sessions, and it was the decision of the board at that point, and rightfully so, and it would still be mine to not do anything because we really have a good plan in place if you look at our performance indicators. Always needing work and not perfect, but the structure that we have for the work that we've done has been solid, and I think it's noted around the state. I was contacted by a board member from the state board because he knows our school and visited our school and thinks highly of the work that we're doing to talk with Lou Erstes from the state, who is head of the charter system, to just to talk through of what might work. And really the conversation around that was, we just don't want to, we don't want to have you spend a lot of time doing things you don't have to do. Because we've got a good game plan. It's really good work. And so I met with Lou Erstes and the team and Gary McGibney and at the State Department, on Monday, and just talked through about what models might work best. And so I'm not making a decision, obviously, but I want to just prep the board that it seems to me that the charter system conversation may be the one we'd like to focus on, because it would do a couple of things. I'm going to bring this out in the workshop. Number one is I described how we're organized all the way from building level teams actually designing their buildings to our school improvement teams and their leadership teams and how we hire principals. I mean, I can't speak for Lou. He sort of says, sounds like we just ought to bring you to the state board on Friday and you'll be good. I mean, it was a little tongue in cheek. But I think we do a lot about how we've structured our leadership and decision making across our system that I interpreted from them really aligned to what they thought a really effective charter system would do. And then I talked about our strategic plan and the role of the board. And even in a charter system, the role of the board is central. The strategic plan is central. That's the what, but the how it's done is carried out throughout the system all the way from school level up. So the conversation at our work session is, I'm going to lean to, if you haven't figured that out, is to look at a charter system discussion. We can certainly go throh I-squared. I'll bring the information to compare. But I think there's some thought to given that a charter system, one, could begin to codify the work that we're doing, and that's a good thing. It lays out a template. It's not like we got to go pick out and do something different. It's just we have to lay that out, and it could really codify things. It could give us some extra resources, and I think the flexibility as we move down the road of a charter system could certainly serve us well as we continue our own reform and trying to be nimble. So that's it about a chart, just sort of a little preempt of what I saw and why I put that on the work calendar. And it would be, at this point, and we may think of something different, it would be a pretty aggressive timeline because I think there's a tremendous advantage for us to look at it if that's a direction. And I can already look at our grant writer. There's a new application I should get tomorrow. If the state board approved it today, that's a little bit different. But if this is the direction the board seeks and we seek that can really help us, I would look at a very tightened time frame with public notice and information. But because I think it's not going to change what we do that much, but more in fact identify the key elements of what we do, I think we'd be in good shape that we, fast track could be in October, maybe coming to the board and making a recommendation if that's the direction you want to go.
Is there a deadline from the state on this again?
The deadline for the state that you have to select a model is July 1, 2015. That has not moved. There was lots of conversations in the legislation, maybe, I don't know, they came across your desk, but about strategic models and different kinds of models, but it really has remained the same as these three. And so I think some people are kind of waiting to see if it's going to change again, to be honest with you. And it hasn't. It's still there. It's not. I don't believe it's going to change. I think we have to make a decision, and I think there's a lot of benefits for us to look at that system and to get in early, because I think there's going to be a jam, and I'm not sure what that's going to look like.
Because the reason I ask is because they've changed course several times, and many districts have spent gobs of money making a selection, and then just to have the DOE extend the deadline and change direction. And I think you're right. When I went to the GSBA, that Gwinnett does have some regret or remorse about their IE² selection, but now they're so deep in it, I don't know what they're going to do. But anyway, and I don't know. I mean, I feel so unconfident not confident in the DOE's position on this to spend a ton of time and money and resources.
I'm not sure if it's just the DOE. I mean, it's a legislative piece that we have to do, and so it's coming out of different places. I think we have to step back for a minute and look at the charter system, or either one, to probably just flip the lens and say, rather than say, why do we have to do this? I think there might be some value in saying, I think this would help us with some flexibility, and really could help us really define our reform structure, which people are looking at from all over the state and all over the nation. So I think we might have an opportunity at this time to sort of grab that ring and make it really help us. That's how I see it.
If I could, I heard a presentation from Lou too at the Council of School Attorneys. And another point he sort of at least implied, a little more than implied, is that the earlier you get in, the more time they have to work with you, and perhaps even if it takes going to the state board to approve modifications to get that to customize it to you, that may not be available at the last minute.
I was I was there, again, I'm the only one was there from our district, but I felt very confident in my conversations about being very clear about the key elements of our work, that we were a lot of agreements that this particular system actually aligns to us really well. And I think Mike's correct. I think the other message I got, I'm trying to read between the lines, which wasn't so much like get it in early, and get some support, which would cue us up for potentially being a charter system for the beginning of 2015. So, but I'll give you more. I know that's a lot, but I just want to get people thinking, because we'll have some discussion. I'll send you the slide presentation, just so you'll have it in advance. I'll make sure, if you remind me, I'll make sure I send that out to you tonight or tomorrow morning, just so you can go through the comparison charts. You saw it, but this is a new one that got updated on May 14th. And our grant writers, James Barliman, is already in line. I've talked with him, and I think as part of this process, I would begin to have him look at the application and begin to apply the construct that we're using for reform. I mean, just make sure to see how it fits. So when we come to you, and as we progress, you will know exactly what that means. Okay?
President Worthy,
Yes.
I owe everyone here an apology. I'm very sorry. I thought I was managing my time effectively, and I certainly was not. But board members, Dr. Lanou, the administrative staff here, and the audience, I'm sorry I'm so late.
Atlanta traffic. You know what? There you go. Just call it 85. Thank you. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
The next two things under mine, and we, I can't be more pleased at this award. And Mark, are you, a lot of our proud moments, but nothing more than when we talk about music and the arts. This is something we have grown in the midst of real financial adversity, but we have kept that front and center, and we were only able to do that because we have partners. I know certainly I work more directly with Jay Wucher, Jay is, and because he's been working with the district and guiding us, and Mark and Dr. Price, but I think you want to tell us why we're here today.
Sure, we're here today because for the second year in a row, the NAM Foundation has named the Clarke County School District a Best Community in Music Education for their outstanding support of music education. So before we have a presentation of the award, let me just recognize a few of the key players that are here. The first one, of course, as you just said, Dr. Lanou, is Jay Wucher, who has been kind of the glue that has held this whole fine arts project together right there at the back. Representing the music teachers, who of course are key in this, is Melanie Powers. She's the elementary music teacher at Whitehead Road Elementary. Thanks for being here. And then we have Jill Helm and Paul Rivers from AthFest Educates. Awesome. I'm looking forward to that next weekend. So, and thank you for being here. But to present the award to you, Dr. Lanou, and the board, is Harry Bergwall from Ken Stanton Music Company, our partner in this project. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Harry Bergwall from Ken Stanton Music, and tonight I'm glad to be here to represent the National Association of Music Merchants Foundation, which is based out of Carlsbad, California. Every year they do a comprehensive study nationwide to come up with the best communities in America for music education. And I'm pleased to announce it started out with the best 100 communities, and it's now grown because more and more communities realize the benefits of music education in their programs and their curriculums, that it helps in all areas. So now, I believe this year we had 357 people that qualified for the award. So it's something that is nationwide growing and benefits both the community. They base everything from the superintendents involved, the Board of Education, the teachers, the students, and the community. It's a concentrated effort of everybody to get this kind of music quality into a school system and to keep it in the curriculum, which we applaud Clarke County for this is the second year in a row that they've won this. I believe the only 2 years they've applied for it, so every time they've applied, they've won. So that's a good thing. And we hope to continue that. But it does show that the music curriculum is a very important and integral part of the education process. In fact, most students that go through music education and go on to college score about 25 to 30 points higher in their SATs and SATs than the normal students. Plus, I've been told by college administrators when they look at two students and they have the exact same grades, everything being equal, if one of them is a music student, they'll choose them because they know that they can get along with a group of people, that they have drive, and that they have the motivation to succeed. So that's another good quality of the music education. So in honor of that, I'd like to present this plaque to Clarke County and to Dr. Lanou, which says, "Recognition for Excellence in Music Education, awarded to Clarke County School District for outstanding music programs and community support, enriching the lives of children and advancing student achievement, Best Communities for Music Education 2014. So again, congratulations.
Can we do this? I would like to have those mentioned to come up because I look at AFFES. We would not be here if not for AFFES Educates and Jay and all the reps of Mark. Dr. Price, you can get a couple pictures. Last one's here. Come on in. But, please. But it's, really, this is, thank you. Thank you. This is terrific. But again, this is, we have lots of recognitions and lots of things that we're proud of, but I will tell you, this is really special. To be able to think that we can bring arts, bring music to our community, because we know that music is really one of the founding pillars of Athens in Clarke County. So this is just terrific. But thank you. Thank you. All right, we're good. Thank you again. All right, please, to the board, please. The board. Walk to the board and shake hands. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank y'all so much. Congratulations. Thank you so much. No, congratulations to you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Super awesome.
And I do have one more, and that is, well, we're all over the place today. We got lots of things. But this one now, we're going to go to ROTC, and if you follow the pictures and to think that our Cedar Shoals Junior ROTC, and this is their trip, of course, representing not only Georgia, but the United States at the celebration in Normandy, and they got off to a little rocky start. They got delayed for 24 hours. But I think just a credit to Officer Cleveland, who said didn't dampen their spirits one bit. That in fact, he said it just grows a little character. So, but these are pictures I wanted to show the board tonight, and this is what they experienced.
Dr. Leo, my understanding was they were the only troop that was representing the state of Georgia. Is that correct?
That's correct. They were one of 50.
Yep.
One of 50 in the United States.
One from each state.
And I think is what we've picked up from that has been just something that probably even some of us in this room haven't experienced, is just the celebratory nature of the whole event. From, if you see pictures, just like we probably portrayed it many years ago, is walking the streets in France and people hanging out the windows and clapping and cheering and talking and laying wreaths. And it's been pretty amazing.
Sweet.
Super. So, and with that, I'd also like to thank our community. Our community, when they first talked to us, $70,000. You kind of go, okay, where do you begin with that? That's a lot of brownies and cookies. But we've had some very generous donors in parts of our community that gave thousands of dollars, and they were able to reach that goal, which way back when was something that looked pretty large. But they did it, which speaks to our community. Many of those didn't know our children, didn't know our kids, but they said it was a good cause. So,
Dr. Lanou, they ended up raising over $100,000.
Is that right? $100,000. I was looking at 70 as big.
Was that all individuals, Anissa, or was there a corporate
Some corporate, but some groups, some neighborhoods gave thousands. Neighborhoods. So, but I think what they've said is that this is a trip of a lifetime, and I have no doubts it was a trip of a lifetime. So, to Cedar Falls Junior ROTC and Officer Cleveland, just job well done, proud of you.
Yes.
That ends my report for tonight.
Okay, we're down to item E, but Mr. Payne is absent tonight, so we're moving down to item F. Dr. Lanu on policy discussion.
These policies and regulations will go public for 4 weeks. Want to know if there are any questions about these policies?
I have one question. On the last packet, there was a policy for superintendent evaluation, or the superintendent, and it's not on this one. Is that?
It was just for discussion. There was nothing to vote on or to change, and
Yeah.
so hence it.
What we'll have to do, that was on my evaluation policy.
Right.
Funny how
Probably
that
got to go
disappeared.
back and look at that and, yeah, later.
We
What's
didn't
that?
meet about it.
What now?
It was on the packet.
It was supposed to be discussed in the work session, and it
And it
wasn't.
was not discussed.
Right.
That's right. So policy committee, help me out here, members. It's been a while. But policy committee felt like we should talk about it as a board and not just in the committee.
Yes.
And so we were going to have it as a work session topic, and it
Okay.
didn't
Right.
happen. So we
Right.
needed, that needs to
We need
happen.
to put it back on the
Yeah.
work session topic.
So, but we felt like as a committee that it should be a whole board discussion.
Okay.
Is that okay?
All right.
So we don't have any discussions on the.
Any other questions on those? Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Action items?
Yeah, move to action items, yes.
Minutes?
Okay, we had, several meetings here. You've had an opportunity to review the minutes. I'll entertain a motion for approval. Moved by Dr. Spangler. Got a second on that? Second from Ms. Williams. Any questions pertaining to the minutes? Any questions? All in favor? Okay, thank you very much. Motion passed, okay.
Recommend
Financial.
to approve the financial report for April 2014.
Okay, same thing. You've had an opportunity to review the financial report. I have a motion for approval. Moved by Dr. Spangler. Got a second on that? Second by Mr. Parks. Any questions pertaining to the financial report? Any questions? All in favor? Thank you very much. Motion passed. Item 3, that's
Item 3 would be to approve the policies as stated. I won't read through all those.
okay. These policies been out there for what, 4 weeks?
4 weeks, correct?
Okay. Need a motion for approval. Need a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Williams. Got a second on that? Second by Ms. Ellis. Any questions pertaining to these policies? Any questions? Go ahead, Dr. Spangler.
We just changed policy BBC, the language to say Athens Clarke County Mayor and Commission, so it's the
Yes.
proper term for the body. It's not
We'll do
mayor and
that.
council.
Yes.
Get that,
Okay.
understand that that's what we're voting on.
Right.
Okay.
And I would just like to make another note with the policies that because we're changing the organization from the deputy to the associate, I think it falls under editorial rights that when it says deputy superintendent, we talked about this as policies or any other policies, we would also substitute that for superintendent or designee. That would give us the greatest flexibility for, if something changes, we have to go back and find if it's written in a policy from 5 years ago.
Oh, geez.
But I think those would be considered edits we can do without changing the heart of the policy.
Okay. Any other questions pertaining to these policies? Any other questions? Okay, all in favor? Thank you very much. Motion passed. Okay. Go ahead, Dr. Lanu.
The next is, there needs to be 2 actions. I think we have to do 2. We have to suspend
We
the
do.
rules, and then we have to vote. These 2 policies deal with weapons and code of conduct, and obviously we have to have these in place. But there were several pieces of legislation that there was some jockeying around and language about weapons, and I don't know if, Mr. Pruitt, if you want to just sort of summarize that, because when you hear that, it certainly raises some eyebrows.
Right. Yeah, there were To make a long story short, there were some inconsistencies in House Bill 60, which was the big gun bill that got a lot of news, and House Bill 826, which dealt primarily with student discipline and got less publicity. There's been a lot of discussion. It's another thing we talked about at the school attorneys seminar. Sort of a consensus of how to address that, and these revised policies reflect that consensus. So I think we are consistent with state law and what other districts around the state are doing.
And I'd ask first, because I would like to make sure we have these in place before the beginning of school. Not that I think we'd have to use them, but
they need to
never
be in
know.
place.
And so first I'd ask for policy JCDAE and the exhibit JCDA for the Code of Conduct, which was revised. I'd ask first for, my recommendation is to suspend the rules, followed by approval of these two policies.
Okay, I need a motion to suspend the rule, and after that, I call for a motion for approval. Need a motion. Moved by Mr. Parks, seconded by Mr. Huff. All in favor? Suspending the rule. Motion passed. Now, I need a motion to pass. Go ahead.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Ms. Williams. I need a second by Mr. Parks. Okay. Now, do we have any questions pertaining to these these policies here before we vote on it? Any questions? Okay, all in favor? Thank you very much. Motion passed. Okay.
The following are no action required. These are regulations. These align to policies. They did get vetted through policy committee, just we had that conversation, so they go through policy. But is there any questions about these regulations? Barring none, as our procedure, they will go into effect to support policy.
Okay.
Recommend approval of the consent agenda.
Recommendation on the consent agenda. Need a motion on that. Moved by Mr. Huff. Got a second on that? Second by Dr. Spangler. All in favor? Thank you very much. Motion passed. Now we down to item 33.
Let me just, I'm catching up with you here, Mr. Worthy.
That's okay. Take your time. I'm ahead of you. 33. Item 33.
Read the budget.
Yeah, that's a budget.
Yeah.
The budget. We will have a budget presentation.
Okay.
Just a real quick comment. It's,
No budget presentation?
We could all do it in unison.
anyone want to make a motion to have a budget presentation? Is anyone out there?
Guys, for lack of a second.
Okay. Just quick comment again. It seems so long ago when we had this, but it's one of those that I think kind of the no news is good news. It was a good budget, and when people don't come out in large numbers, it means, I think in general, people feel really good about the budget, and we should. And going back for the record, we have gone through some very difficult times. We have made difficult decisions, but I think now we're as strong, if not stronger, than we were before. We're fiscally sound, and we're rebuilding this district in a very different way to meet our needs. And I just want to thank everyone involved for putting together what I think is a budget, and we are, I think, as a district, I think it's safe to say we are probably as fiscally sound, if not one of the most fiscally sound districts in the state of Georgia with the most robust programs. And we have done that by making good decisions. So with that, I'd ask that we approve the FY 2014-15 budget.
Okay, the recommendation from the superintendent to approve the 2014-2015 budget. Need a motion. Moved by Mr. Huff, seconded by Dr. Spangler. Any questions pertaining to the 2014-15 budget? Any questions?
I just want to make a quick
Go ahead.
comment and thank Dr. Lanu again. I know we've talked about it a bunch, but for bringing us through an incredibly tough time, and I don't think, by any means we can go out and celebrate that it's all over, but for being very studious and making really tough decisions. And thank you very much. And I think it was, and it feels good to be in the place that we are for sure, and to have made some significant cuts in the budget that, and thank you to all the teachers who rose to some really tough occasions and really made it work for our kids. And
They did.
I think we're all incredibly proud of where we are, and it's due to some great leadership. So thank you.
That's correct. Teachers, leaders, support staff, going with furlough days and no raises for 5 years and doing the work. And the work that we had to do is just remarkable.
Okay. Any other questions pertaining to the budget? All in favor? Motion passed. Thank you very much.
Well, since our budget
Yeah.
is predicated on a 20 mils millage rate, no pressure.
Perhaps you should do those in the opposite order.
Yeah,
You should do the millage
I
rate.
don't. I don't know. I like this. We just have to go and do the other one. But as we approve setting the millage rate again at 20 mils for 2014-15.
Okay. Recommendation on the millage rate moved by Mr. Huff, seconded from Ms. Williams there. Any questions pertaining to the millage rate? That's the only millage rate that we don't have to sustain this budget. Okay. All in favor? Thank you very much. Okay. Item 35.
And this was pulled off consent.
Yes.
Because this was to approve a math science partnership grant to support the implementation of content-focused math and science professional learning in elementary schools. I'd ask for approval to do that, to apply. This is to apply.
This is the intent to apply for the math and science partnership. Did you give the amount, Dr. Lanu? I was looking. It's 350,000. Up to 350,000.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, all righty. Now, I need a motion on this. Need a motion? Moved by Ms. Ellis, seconded by Mr. Huff. Any questions pertaining to the intent to apply for this math and science partnership? Any questions? All in favor? Okay. And Dr. Spangler?
I'm abstaining due to a conflict of interest.
Yeah, you mentioned that last week. You got that, Ms. Weaver? Okay, item 36.
Item 36, we had talked a lot last at the work session about security as we ratchet up and beef up our system and prepare as our students in going to personalized learning, but really it's how we move into the digital world. This is to approve the purchase of CloudLock software from Amplify IT in the amount of $23,820 annually, funding from the 2015 technology budget.
Okay, and that's the lowest bid, right?
That's correct.
Okay, the recommendation on this Google Data System Security Technology, need a motion on that? Moved by Mr. Huff, got a second on that? Seconded by Dr. Spangler. Any questions? Any questions? All in favor? Motion passed, thank you. Item 37.
Item 37 deals with furniture, and as we know, furniture is a large conversation. I thought before we put a motion, since this information just came to us, I would have Mr. Gilbert talk about how we're approaching furniture, which is different than we've had in the past, and so you could ask questions before any recommendations made.
Okay.
Absolutely. This recommendation involves furniture purchases for Clarke Central High School, Barnett Shoals Elementary, and Whitehead Road Elementary. It's all SPLOST funded and are associated with the new construction projects. The goal from the start was to find a firm that would provide many manufacturers' products so that our stakeholders could select from various product lines, various manufacturers, and select lines of furniture that meet our district's requirements for collaboration and the mobility in classrooms and some of those features that we've seen at Barrow and Whit Davis and Stroud. But the idea was that how do we find competitively a group that would come in and help us as consultants through that process. This firm that's recommended is New Idea. They were one of 8 firms that submitted proposals. We narrowed down after a scoring criterion to 2 for presentations. That was New Idea and Georgia Specialty and Equipment. And New Idea had just a very, very good presentation. We had involvement from their top leadership and their design professionals. And what this does is allows us to have a firm to work with in conjunction with our architects to design classrooms, offices, media centers, furnishings, as well as the cafeteria. And then, once they helped us through the design process, to take it out for bid to the manufacturers for new pricing, to the ones that we select. So we think it'll be very competitive, but it also brings in an expert that can help us go to our stakeholders and share all of the options that are available.
I do think this is a very different way for us to look at it, but it puts us totally in control. It allows us to make better decisions because it's changing. Furniture's large. I mean,
It's a huge
It's a
piece.
large investment, but it's also a large investment in how we look at our environments. And it doesn't lock us down. I mean, and it goes back out to competitive pricing to multiple vendors who may produce a product that's similar but not exactly the same, because it
Right.
would be manufacturer design.
And if you looked at the attachments to the recommendation, you'll see the various options there, page after page after page that they submitted.
Okay.
So with that, I think we've
Got a
got
question from Ms. Williams?
I do.
Motion to
And it might be somewhere else that I've totally overlooked it, but how much is this contract for?
There's no cost to the consultant stage. This is, they come in to help us in the manner that we laid out, and there's no charge for that. What they do is have their earnings through the furniture purchases when we get to that stage. So what we used to do years ago was to bid out portions of furniture to different manufacturers, and then it was oftentimes very, very difficult to coordinate all that, to bring all of them at the right time and have the installations done in a tight time period. This firm handles that single source and for no charge provides all of the selection process.
So their payment comes from the vendors and not from us?
Correct. It would be more of a commission. And they are highly involved in the K-12 market.
Have we dealt with them before?
No, ma'am. But they represent the top firms in the school furniture business, the ones that you'll see at the Georgia DOE, and you'll see in schools especially lots of the new ideas that are out there for 21st century classrooms.
Good. I think sorry. Just a question, but any furniture purchases that they recommend come back to the board.
Absolutely.
I mean, so
This is to
they're
select
not gonna
them.
go out and they're not going to go out and spend our money. They will just make recommendations.
This doesn't approve any furniture purchases. This is to use this firm, then they will bring the manufacturers to us. We've got quite a selection process that we've got to undergo with our stakeholders first.
And then they go out for competitive bid.
So
Right.
all these other firms provide the same service, is that correct? The Russell Ventures schools, I mean, this is a comment.
I would say they provide similar services, but when we scored each one, this one rose to the top. And again, we selected, the team selected two. I was not part of that process, but I did sit in on the final presentations. And they're somewhat different. This one had probably the greatest variety. I think it's over 350 companies that they represent.
And that's new idea?
Yes.
Okay.
And one final question. Are they doing the procurement process instead of the district? Is that what you're saying? They'll
They would do
the
that.
competitive process?
And Veronica, most of that is state contract pricing when we get to it anyway. Most furniture products are available under that, but we'll seek out the best price we can get on each type of furniture.
I thought you just said they were doing the procurement process, but we're using...
Through them, I'm sorry. They're the ones that bring the pricing to us. We don't, they will do it on our behalf as our consultant, so that when we look for a certain type of student desk, for instance, we'll have multiple manufacturers who can meet the needs, and we'll have them price for us all of those products. That's how we would obtain the competitiveness to it.
It's just, I've never heard of an arrangement like that before. You know, it's new.
So whomever we award the contract to, we pay the vendor pays these people, is what you're saying?
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
The other thing, though, is most of the furniture already likely is on a state bid list, so that would gauge us in terms of making sure that we aren't overpricing a piece of
Absolutely.
furniture. So,
And most furniture, school furniture, is that way. What we really wanted in this was a company that could come work, again, with the architects and with our school-based stakeholders to offer as many options as we could to meet their needs. So I assume most of it will be by grade level. That's typically how they break it out. And they will work, we've already told them, within the vision that Dr. Lanou cast. The first meeting we would have with these people would be with our leadership team to talk about what is the vision, what are we trying to accomplish, and then it's off to the school.
I do think there are advantages to this compared to where we were when we did it in-house. And you didn't have the wide panacea of furniture that's changing all the time. And furniture is really important. Before, I think we just thought about it was a desk or a chair. How long did it last? Was it connected? Was it not connected? Is it flat or is it on an angle? And it's very, very different. And so to create the right environments, I think it'd be tremendous to have a consultant who knows the broad vision of furniture to work with our architects to really make sure that it aligns, and with our teachers. Because having been in construction, if we don't get that furniture right, it can really take away from a really good project.
And I would reiterate that in the past we had such standards. There were just not many decisions to be made. And now there are just so many more. Both presenters, or groups that presented, said these last 2 or 3 years, is more dynamic than they've seen in decades. So there's lots out there.
I'd recommend at this point that we approve and award the furniture procurement services to New Idea. The contract for a term of 12 months and will automatically renew for one additional year beginning June 13, 2014. In accordance with OCGA 20-2-506, the contract will terminate at the end of each calendar year of the term, but will automatically renew for the following calendar year unless the district takes affirmative action to non-renew.
Okay, the recommendation from the superintendent on furniture procurement from New Idea for Clarke Central High School, Barnett Shows, Whitehead, and these funds are coming from SPLOS, Mr. Gibbert. Is that SPLOS 4?
Yes, it
SPLOS
is.
4. Okay, need a motion on that.
There's no money at this point, but eventually that's where it comes from.
Right. Moved by Mr. Huff. We got a second on that. Second from Dr. Spangler. Any further questions? Any further questions? All in favor? Thank you very much. Motion passed. Okay, we're down to item 38.
Item 38, again, it's our continual upgrades. I mean, these are planned. And let me sort of make a comment, because I don't want us to get confused. People say, is it for a personalized learning? Is it for a certain initiative? This is something we had in our works to be robust. We knew that we needed to handle the digital content and the digital world that we're creating in our classrooms. So I can say, and where is Taylor? Yeah, Taylor's right there. Taylor, that when we look around the districts, we are building probably one of the most, I think, forward-thinking systems. We've changed some of our vendors. We've changed how we've done business, how we're setting up our wireless. But maybe you could talk just briefly about what this is. But I just want to say that our infrastructure is really, we're building is state-of-the-art. And I'm just really pleased.
Absolutely. And this is two pieces that are key to the wireless. One is the wireless security aspect of the piece, is what authenticates your wireless devices to the network. The other one is the management portion of it. It's what allows us to make changes to a school or to parts of a building or even district-wide and roll those out really, really quickly. It's stuff we already have before. It's just 5, 6 years old. Time to upgrade.
So with that, I ask that we approve the purchase of Airwave and ClearPass from Layer 3 Communications using the State of Georgia contract. That's the number, for the amount of $83,194.66 for Airwave and $222,823.25 for ClearPass, funding from SPLOS 4 Technology.
Okay, the recommendation from the superintendent on the data center upgrade technology. I need a motion on that. Moved by Dr. Spangler. Got a second from Mr. Huff. Well, any further questions? Any further questions? All in favor? Okay, thank you. Motion passed on 39.
Number 39, and we talked about the insurance proposal. I'm not sure if it's consent or not, but here it is. This is to approve the proposed premiums shown for Georgia School Boards Association Workers' Compensation Fund and Risk Management Fund for the period of July 1, 2004 through June 30, 2015, and that's general fund.
And what was the amount?
The amount total was
Right there.
$1,232,056. That includes workers' comp and risk management.
Okay, all righty, okay. That's the recommendation from the superintendent on the district insurance proposal, which we discussed at length last week. I need a motion on that. Moved by Mr. Huff. We got a second on from Dr. Spangler. Any further questions pertaining to the district insurance proposal? Any further questions? All in favor? Okay. Motion passed, okay. Okay, item 40.
Item 40, again, this was the Family Connection agreement that we spoke at length, worked with Mr. Pruitt, again, to bring more clear definition that you should have read, that I think outlines the relationship in a way that we talked about last week. There's no job descriptions in there yet. My feeling was I'd do this and then I'd come back with a job description. So I didn't want to assume anything. So there, and that was for 2 positions. And I have those from Community and Schools. But I'd ask that we approve the contract with the Georgia Department of Human Services, that's Family Connection, to allow Clarke County School District to act as a fiscal agent for FY 2015 Family Connection contract. And I'd make a note that that contract is attached as part of the record.
Okay, you heard the recommendation from the superintendent on the Family Connection FY 2015 contract. I need a motion on that. Moved by Mr. Huff. Got a second on that? Moved by Dr. Spangler. Any questions pertaining to this? Go ahead, Ms. Williams.
And if you could just remind me again what the agreement was before. Was it the same kind of agreement or was it different? What is different about this agreement? And who was our previous agreement with?
Yeah.
To be honest, we really did. We had a 2009 fiscal agent agreement, but it did not cover any of the details or any of the sort of greater roles as it's evolved over the years since then. So this is really just getting into writing how it works now.
Right.
Or how it needs to work now.
And with the one change of piece is that the employees, like we said in a grant function, would be under the school district and the superintendent.
That's right.
And so probably the difference was the same fiscal arrangements were there. I think they're more clearly defined, but it also is the evaluation of the director and his staff is now defined under the superintendent, where before it was not.
Right. The situation was sort of quasi-employee. They were treated as employees for certain purposes, not all.
That's correct.
This just brings it all under the right umbrella.
Who's been evaluating them before?
The board. That would be the community schools board.
Right.
But now that and we've been the fiscal agent, and it now simply is that they would be employees of the district. They would fall within the auspices of the district, for goal setting and those kinds of things. And that's probably the most significant change in this.
That's right. But again, as you'll note, the contract does say those job assignments and tasks have to be consistent with the joint goals of the district and Family Connections, communities, and schools. So their board still has a role.
And I think it's probably similar to the governance board of the Career Academy, where there are a lot of things that are discussed, but ultimately decisions with the board.
Right.
Ms. Williams?
Our motion states that our contract is with the Georgia Department of Human Services, but the agreement doesn't mention them that I can find in there. It just says Family Connection.
Those are actually 2 different pieces. This is the agreement that's solely with Family Connections - Communities and Services of Athens, Communities and Schools of Athens, Inc., which is the local nonprofit, and that's the local board that we work cooperatively with. As part of this, you'll see referenced in item, I believe it's 3A. As part of that, the district will continue to serve, as it has for many years, as the fiscal agent for a grant that comes through the Department of Human Services that partially funds these operations.
Okay. Go ahead. Okay.
I move to accept the recommendation stated.
Okay, I had a motion on that, right?
You did.
We did? Okay, oh, you already did, sorry.
Okay. Any
Okay.
further questions? Any further questions? If I have none further questions, all in favor? Motion passed, thank you. And that's, we're gonna do the personnel recommendations after.
42
Let's-
board travel.
Yeah, let's do the,
Approval
the
for.
agenda that to, and ask that we approve, board travel for Board Member Williams to the PTA, thank you, conference.
May I just say something
Sure.
about that? The national president of PTA this year is Otha Thornton. He is originally from Elberton, lives in Savannah now, but he was the speaker for the graduation ceremony at Athens Technical College, and my conversation with him was really very impressive. He is retired military, he's worked in the White House, he's in private sector now, and he issued a presidential invite to join the Georgia delegation, and I did not know that we had the president of National PTA from Georgia, and what he has done and the credibility of that office is just amazing. So I appreciate the invitation. I appreciate knowing about him and establishing that relationship with the Clarke County School District and what he is doing and will continue to do with his focus and passion about education.
Okay.
Where is it?
It's in Austin.
I'll entertain a motion for Ms. Williams to travel to this national PTA conference, or PTO conference, whichever one. Need a motion. Moved by Mr. Huff. Got a second on that? Second by Mr. Parks. Any questions? Now, this will come out of this year fiscal budget. We have somebody left.
Yes.
This next week.
Yes.
Okay, so it'll come
Yes.
out, okay. Okay, any further questions? All in favor? Motion passed. Thank you. Okay, Dr. Lynn.
Okay, at this point, recommend executive session for the following reasons: acquisition, disposal, appraisal of real estate, or appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, dismissal, evaluation of employees, or pending or potential litigation claims or administrative proceedings, or the settlement of such litigation claims or administrative proceedings.
Okay, I need a motion to go into executive session. Moved by Mr. Huff. Got a second? Seconded by Dr. Spain. All in favor? Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to executive session. Okay.